What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now, today I've got for you just one story, but it involves two of the most unbelievable parents I've ever had the pleasure of reading about. What I will say, without giving any spoilers away, is that they personify the word gaslighter to the nth degree. It's genuinely incredible. Without further ado, let's get into this one. Make sure you drop a like on this and subscribe to my channel if you're new around here and you do go on to enjoy this unbelievable story. Here we go. I discovered that my parents, who are in their 50s, have been lying to me, a 19-year-old woman, about my food allergies and who knows what else for my entire life. Am I justified if I cut them out of my life? Ever since I was a little girl, my parents have told me that I am allergic to both milk and chocolate. The story goes that I broke into severe hives on my very first Halloween. My mum had given me some milk chocolate and I had to be rushed to the hospital with hives and breathing problems, where I was diagnosed with both chocolate and milk allergies. Ever since then, I have never been allowed to eat anything containing chocolate or cow's milk. Over the summer, one of my college friends from out of state invited me to come and stay with her for a few weeks. While I was in her state, I decided to use the opportunity to visit my godmother, aunt, who I haven't been able to see since I was a young child. My aunt was thrilled to see me, and we spent a whole day hiking and just catching up. When we stopped for lunch, my aunt pulled out some granola bars, but they had chocolate in them, so I couldn't eat them. I told her that I was allergic to chocolate, and she was stunned. My aunt told me that I have never been allergic to chocolate and that my mum was lying to me. She told me the story of how I'd gotten ill from daycare, and my mum had tried to sue the daycare owner for some stupid reason that no one was sure of. My mum was annoyed because she thought the daycare owner was flirting with my dad, and she wanted to get the daycare shut down. My mum then invented the story about me and the chocolate at the Halloween party. She made sure not to tell the daycare about the fake allergy, and then waited for the daycare to feed me food with chocolate in it so that she could sue. When that didn't work, my mum then invented a story about me being allergic to milk. When my aunt tried to call her out on it, my mum stopped speaking to her, and that silence has continued until the present. Goodness me, imagine just being on a nice walk with your aunt and then hearing that bombshell about your entire life. Wow. Needless to say, I was stunned. I wanted so badly to believe that my mum was telling the truth and that my aunt was lying. I waited until we got back to my aunt's house and I took a bite of one of the granola bars. And I was not allergic at all. I was very upset and I decided to call my dad. Our conversation was so crazy and out of nowhere that I don't know what else to do but type it out. The conversation went like this. Dad, were you aware that I'm not actually allergic to chocolate and milk like you and mum have told me? Don't be ridiculous. You've never been able to eat chocolate without a reaction. Why would we make that up? I'm not trying to accuse you of making it up. I was just asking if you were aware that I do not have that allergy. I just ate some chocolate and I didn't have any reaction to it. Did I ever get any allergy tests done? I will have to ask your mother. I'm upset that you're trying to call us liars over this. When did I say anyone was lying? What are you talking about? My mum then jumped into the conversation. It was on speakerphone. Honey, don't you remember that you had hives at your 10th birthday party? Your friend had given you a Tootsie Pop and you were allergic to the chocolate. Mum, I never had a 10th birthday party and I don't know what you're talking about. I was just curious if I ever had a real allergy test done for chocolate because I was just able to eat some without a reaction. I'm just trying to figure out if I can eat chocolate or not now. I don't know why you need to know if you had a test or not. You can't eat chocolate because we say you can't eat chocolate. You're being a little liar right now. How dare you say we never gave you a birthday party that year? You've always been ungrateful and now you can't even remember the party we gave you? Mum, I know I never had a 10th birthday party because I was at summer camp. Why are you trying to make me believe that I did? My mum then started screaming at me and I just hung up the phone because it was so loud and I couldn't hear any individual words. I silenced my phone and watched as she proceeded to call me 40 times in a row. The entire time my aunt was watching in horror. My aunt then gave me a hug and told me that this is why she doesn't have a relationship with my mum. My mum has always done this, lied to people and then tried to convince them it was the truth. I am very upset about this entire situation. The conversation was simply one of the craziest things I've seen and I don't know who these people are anymore. It creeped me out, and I don't think I ever want to talk to them again, or else they will try to turn on me. Am I right in wanting to cut these people out of my life? Well, immediately I would say yes, but before we get into my thoughts on this, let's jump into some comments and then get into the update. Somebody said, I'm just amazed that you haven't figured it out sooner. I'm allergic to various nuts, and I'd say about once a year I accidentally eat one, but when I was younger, my parents kept me away from eating all nuts to be safe. OP replied, they had chocolate and milk banned from the house and always told my teachers and such about my allergies at the beginning of each school year. I also had to keep an EpiPen in my car starting after I got my license, just in case something bad happened. I didn't have any reason to doubt them until a few months ago when it all came crashing down. And I guess the difference there is that if you are actually allergic to something and you do accidentally eat it, then you'll know about it. But if you're not actually allergic to something and then you do accidentally eat it, you're not going to know about it. So I assume from OP's perspective, she just never thought she'd ever eaten any chocolate or milk and therefore had never had any allergic reaction since her supposed hives breakout. OP also added this at the end about her parents, saying, my mum and dad are two peas in a pod and they are best friends. If she's a narcissist, then I'm 100% positive that he is one too. Now, I can't afford an allergy test, but at least I know I'm not going to die from chocolate anymore. I don't think I'll be able to pretend that I forgot about the party because it was so hurtful that she tried to lie to me about it. I don't ever want to speak to her again. She doesn't even remember my birthdays, and she's my mum. I'd love to know a little bit more about the relationship between OP and her parents over the years, because we don't really have too much context into how that relationship has been, apart from just this sort of incident here. But it's one of those where I put myself in OP's position, and surely there'd be so much other stuff going on. Like if her parents are narcissists and sort of very weird and strange individuals, I feel like that should have come up at another point during the post, rather than it just being based on this weird fake allergy. I just think if I was OP and my parents were as weird as that, and they were the sort of people to fake an allergy about me and not let me have milk and chocolate to try and sue my daycare back in the day and still carry on with that, there'd be loads of other weird stuff about them that I would be able to clock onto as their kid and be like, okay, I know they're my parents, but they're really strange. Now, maybe that's not actually the case because, they are your parents and you're just used to them and they are who they are. It's just weird that like you would have this one-off incident and then wouldn't just be like, okay, so now that I see how weird they are in other aspects of life, maybe they could be lying about my allergy. They are those sort of individuals, if you get what I'm saying. But the main point is here, like the gaslighting from your mum is genuinely crazy. Not just the allergy, but also saying, no, you did have a 10th birthday. I'd remember I'm your mum when you know for a fact that you didn't. And you're saying that she doesn't even remember your birthdays. It's just crazy. Yeah, again, it does make me think, like, surely, like, you've clocked by now. You're 19. But your parents are odd individuals. Like, why are they gaslighting you over these weird things? Yeah, you've got to take your aunt's side. Is there not more, as you said in the title, looking back now, what else have they been lying about in your life? Or maybe this is just sort of the trigger and now you're sort of second guessing everything, which I suppose would make sense. But anyway, with that first post out of the way, and I can't quite believe what I've just read there, a few months later, we got this update. It's been a while, but I felt the need to update because my mum purchased a one-way ticket to Crazy Town after I made my first post. So, to summarize what I have found out since my last post in the past few months. I am not allergic to chocolate. Chocolate is amazing, and I'm now addicted to the chocolate waterfall at Golden Coral. I am also not allergic to milk. I am mildly lactose intolerant, but I was always told it was an allergy to a protein in the milk. I can drink Lactaid with no issues. I had an allergy test done and it confirmed that I'm not allergic to anything except for pollen and some animal dander. My mother is a psycho. After I made my original post, I decided that I was going to cut contact with my parents, except through email. My mum called me over 1,000 times the first week, and I eventually had to get a new phone and simply stopped answering the old one and let the battery in it die. To put this in perspective, she used to call me 2 to 3 times a week, and this sudden increase was pure insanity. Since my mum knew where my dorm room was located on campus, I requested to be moved into one of the more private dorm buildings because I was concerned for my privacy. I didn't tell anyone except my college friends about the move, and I thought that everything would be fine. Everything was fine for a few weeks until I got a call from one of the adjunct professors to help tutor one of the new students. My school has a master tutor list, and any student can call the tutors and arrange for help for free. Us tutors are paid by the school. I told the adjunct that I would meet the student in the library in a few, and I grabbed my books and I walked over to the library. Lo and behold, the new student was my mum. My mother decided that she would enroll in classes as a student in order to contact me. When I saw her, I froze and immediately tried to leave the library, but she followed me outside and would not leave me alone. I eventually managed to duck into one of the fraternity apartments and I was able to lose her, but she's been basically stalking me on campus ever since. I tried to report her to the school, but the campus police told me that since she never made any threats, there's nothing I can do. I tried reporting her to the normal police as well, but was told the same thing. My mum has not left me any voicemails or texts or anything at all that I can use to prove what she's doing. My RA has ensured that my mum is banned from my dorm building. Only upperclassmen are allowed, and my mum is technically a freshman, but beyond that, I'm running out of options. My mum posted on Facebook that she is signing up for the same classes as I need to complete my major next semester. She posted her schedule and we are in one of the same classes, and I don't know what else I can do to stop the crazy. She claims that she didn't do anything to hurt me and that I am just lying about the chocolate and milk allergies. My aunt had to go out of the country for work, and I feel so alone with dealing with all of this. My dad has basically ditched and moved out of my mum's house, and I haven't been able to get in contact with him either. Any ideas for how to stop the crazy? Oh my goodness me. That's just gone from, it wasn't 0, it was probably like a level 10, but now we're at level 1,000,000. Like what is she doing? Enrolling at your uni? Oh my gosh. So somebody actually commented below saying that OP should just take charge of this and just tell her, to F off and just kind of dominate the situation. But OP replied saying, I don't actually think she's physically or financially dangerous. The only way my mum can hurt me is mentally and emotionally. I've been able to play it off to my friends so far because she is living and breathing the stereotype of the crazy Asian mother. If I can get this meeting arranged, I'm going in drinking a carton of chocolate milk. I'm not worried about her because she's always been this crazy. This is just the first time that her anger has been directed at me. Okay, so perhaps that kind of answers my question from earlier when I was asking, did you not see the signs of this from childhood? But yeah, there we go. Somebody else asked, how on earth did OP's mum find her schedule? OP said she found out from the degree catalogue they publish each year, the one that lists all the classes you need to graduate. She signed up for one of the 200 level classes I had left, and it doesn't need any prereqs at all. She's actually really smart and somehow managed to test out of a lot of the core classes. She'll be taking Calc 2 next semester. Now, as you can imagine, a lot of people told OP to contact the department head or professor and have her mum removed. And I'd be the same. I'd be like, go to the head of the uni, right? Go to the head of the college, whatever. Go to the dean and explain what's going on. But OP said, I'm typing up an email to the department chair now and I'm waiting for a call back from the student affairs office. I've still got the phone, but the police wouldn't even look at it when I tried to tell them about her stalking me. It's an iPhone, so it saves all the records of when she tried to call me. And that's what I'm thinking. Surely if you make enough of a fuss here and explain, it can't be that hard to show that this is your mum and that she's clearly stalking you. Maybe it's not enough for the police because she's actually physically not causing you any harm, I suppose. I don't know about that, but I suppose they have their limits on when to get involved. But for the university, for the college, surely there's enough evidence there to kick your mum off the course. But anyway, with that being said, let's get into the final update of this one. This was posted just a week after the update I just read on r/raised by narcissists with the title, My narcissistic mum is in the hospital right now because she became suicidal after a meeting with me and our university. I feel so guilty. Hi there. It's my first time posting here because I was hesitant to give my mum the narcissist label. That being said, I don't really have a better term to describe her behavior, and a ton of people pointed me to the subreddit after I posted on r/relationships about my mum. To summarize, my mum and dad lied to me and told me I had allergies, chocolate and milk. I believed them for years until I met my estranged aunt and she spilled the beans and revealed the web of lies created by my mother. I decided to go no contact with my parents, and my mum snapped and enrolled at my university and was basically stalking me and enrolling in the same classes I need for next semester. I contacted the student affairs department and they arranged a meeting between myself and my mum regarding the stalking. At the meeting, the administrator heard both sides of our stories and pretty much caught my mum in another lie. My mum had her best poker face on and tried to claim that she hadn't contacted me in months. She denied that she'd called me repeatedly, denied that she ever tried to get tutoring from me, denied everything she did. She tried to act like she was the victim and that I was just a mean and disrespectful daughter who hated her mum. And that's when I produced my iPhone and showed the administrator the call log from when my mum called me over 1,000 times in a row. By the way, this isn't an exaggeration. The call log hit quadruple digits. My mum then tried to deny that the number was her cell number, but the administrator looked it up in the student database and it proved she was lying. You know what's crazy about calling somebody 1,000 times? After like the 382nd time, do you not think they're probably not going to answer me or they've probably blocked my number? After the 720th time, like, why are you still going at that point? Do you not have better things to do? If you're not clocked on that you're not gonna get an answer? My mum tried to backtrack, but the damage was done. The administrator made us both sign contracts that said that we each must not contact each other for the remainder of the school year, otherwise we would be suspended from classes. My mum was forced to change her schedule so that she would not be in the same classes as I was in. The administrator made it clear that if she tried to circumvent the contract, even if by accident, that she could have her student ID banned from entering the student centre or other buildings if I was inside. These are controlled by RFID chips and we have to swipe them to enter certain buildings. After the meeting ended, I was so happy and I felt free for the first time in weeks. A few nights later, my dad called me and left a voicemail informing me that my mum tried to unalive herself with sleeping pills and that she was going to the hospital. I thought it was fake at first, so I called the hospital and they put me through to my dad, who was in the waiting room. My dad laid into me pretty hard and called me names and stuff about the whole situation, and then told me that if I didn't want my mum to die, I shouldn't have made her life miserable. So that's my Thanksgiving vacation, and I don't really know what to think or do right now. I'm gonna bake a pumpkin pie and try to forget about it all, but food tastes like ash in my mouth. Okay, and there we go. Wow, an awful ending to this one, but yeah. I think it's best summed up by this user's comments, who left a comment on this update. Honey, it's not your fault, not even a little. She is a very sick person. This unalive attempt is the inevitable conclusion of a long struggle with serious mental illness. Also, while we take all threats of unaliving seriously on this sub, her failure to actually unalive herself is notable. It's not actually that... Okay, I'm not sure about this, reading this, but I'm going to do it just because we're at the end of this episode and I trust you guys that have listened to all of this to form your own opinions on this, I'll just say. But this person continues, it is not hard to unalive yourself. Even pop culture offers a few methods which are surefire, and a quick Google search will quickly turn up a dozen more. The fact that she didn't look for this information and didn't complete suggests that this was more of an attempt to manipulate than an attempt to leave the planet. I'm not necessarily sure if I 100% agree with that. I'm not saying that she's not the sort of person to seriously harm herself and know the limit to what she can get away with in terms of sleeping pills, to not unalive herself but then put herself in the hospital. But I'm not sure I'd like to go to that length. I'm not sure I'd like to say something like that, despite what I've just read about your mum, OP. But anyway, this user does comment and continue by saying, I qualify this quickly with a link to unalive hotlines. Should anyone be reading this who is considering unaliving themselves genuinely, it's a nasty topic to be sure, but it needed to be said. She isn't dead, and that's significant. Okay, fair enough. And also, guys, if you check the description of this, I'll be leaving links to those same hotlines down below. OP replied to this saying, thank you for saying this. My mum is incredibly intelligent and resourceful, and I know that if she really wanted to die, she would have been successful. Okay, fair enough. She can recite stats off the top of her head, and I've heard her saying before that the most successful unalives involve guns. I know for a fact that she knows what it takes to unalive herself, and she's smart enough to find a way to hurt herself without leaving lasting damage. She also made sure to put me down on her list of approved visitors and sign all the paperwork so that the nurses can tell me information without violating HIPPA. She knows that I'm the type of person who would have called the hospital, and then I would know all the details and she could guilt me with them. Okay, there we go. Yeah, fair enough. As you can probably imagine, I'm always a little bit reticent to say that someone has failed to unalive themselves and therefore they are a failure, and if they wanted to, they could do it, because I think that's just a bit wrong. But in this situation, based on what I've just read there and based on what OP has said about her own mum, and obviously she knows her a lot better than we do, yeah, fair enough, I'll accept that. Imagine that, like, yeah, trying or attempting to unalive yourself just for attention, knowing that you'll be fine, and then guilt tripping your daughter with that. Genuinely unbelievable. So insane. I mean, probably the most insane thing in this entire story, but I didn't think we'd see much more crazy shenanigans than your mum, OP, enrolling in your uni, doing your degree to stalk you. Like, imagine you didn't realize and you came into one of your new classes and your mum was just there, just doing your same calc class or something. You'd be like, what the hell? It's genuinely unbelievable, but yeah, I suppose people like this really do exist. So then, guys, as always, drop your comments down below. I want to hear your thoughts on this woman in particular. I mean, the dad as well. Like, what's he doing in all of this? I know he's not a major part of this. He's not a main character, but do something. I don't know. What was it? He just left? Great. That's also great parenting, man. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. Interested, as always, to hear what you have to say about this mum in particular. She is just crazy. That's what I'm going to leave you with. Just the definition of crazy.